Hi, I'm Dr. Michelle Pedicola, and welcome to day 3 of the 5-day Out of the Box Challenge, the Out of the Box Facebook Challenge. Today 3, we are going to talk about resistance. So maybe you have been sort of interested in this idea of out of the box. It's kind of, hi, thank you for joining. It's kind of like, oh, what does she mean by out of the box? It's very simple. It's changing your behavior. I am a life transformation coach. I empower or help smart men and women to reinvent themselves after a loss, like divorce or death or a transition, a transformation. And we're going through that right now, big time. If you're a speaker, if you're a coach, or you're a healer, your life has really changed from this pandemic because we are now required to connect with our audience over digital media. I used to do all of my major connection with people live. I was really good at it. I could really connect. I could really look at people. I felt empowered. I got charged by their energy. And now, here's this new reality, trying to speak to you, remembering where to keep my eyes, and how to feel you out there when you aren't even there right now. Now, it's one thing when somebody's on there, but then what happens? They're on there for a second and then they disappear, and then how does that feel? There's a lot to master here. And each time you get on a different camera, you have to look in a different place. And I noticed recently, looking at my own videos, that I have, hi, thank you for joining. I noticed in my own videos that I have a tendency to talk down my nose. Well, I figured it out. I wear progressives, and that area right there below is where I can see more clearly. But I look like I'm looking down my nose at you. These are all really important. But perhaps what's most important of all is that when you are speaking, you're speaking intimately to the person on the other side. You're not in a big room. They're experiencing you right here, right now, in this moment. Being intimate is a whole different level of connection. And it's actually what I teach my clients, is how to come from the heart, how to come from inside of yourself. And believe me, I understand if there's resistance to that, because all of us have been taught when we were children to be somebody else, to fulfill our parents' expectations, or to play it safe, or to be a pleaser, or one of these many different patterns. In fact, today we're going to talk about the performer pattern. It's also one of my own patterns in which we act in a certain way to ensure that we feel safe, that we're going to feel accepted, that people are going to acknowledge us, that they're going to like you. And if you're a coach or a healer or a speaker, the buy-in from your audience is very important. It's like life-threatening if they don't like you. Therefore, this challenge could be bringing up a lot of resistance for you right now. Maybe you're feeling, oh, I'm too busy. I'm way too busy. I can't possibly do this. I don't have time right now. Well, I understand that. I have a little out-of-the-box challenge myself, which is to do very quick drawings every day to keep that creativity juice going. That's actually how I found this out-of-the-box challenge in the first place, was that I knew over and over again, I was getting the message, you've got to be creative. You have to go back to your drawings. But I didn't want to go back to the drawings because I don't feel good enough, right? There's that perfection thing. And so I would kind of put it off. Oh, I'm too busy. But this challenge that I'm doing right now, you don't have to be perfect. In fact, you actually learn how to not be perfect, to be in the moment, to put out whatever is there, because that is when you become alive. So it's very exciting, but I can understand that you may be feeling some resistance right now to stepping up, to playing this challenge of being out of the box. Because one of the things I'm asking you to do is to create 4 videos. One is a baseline video, which is just you saying who you are and what you do and what your intention is for the week. The next one is doing the same thing from the archetype of the pleaser. How do you express being a very pleasing and warm and cuddly kind of person, or of service? And then the next one is to be the controller, to be the in charge, the powerful person. And today we're going to be working on the performer, who could be very dramatic, very expressive, very grandiose, or the way in which I would play performer is being super intellectual, that I would wow people with my brilliance. Although actually I've learned that most of the time they just can't even catch half of what I say. It's just a shield. They're all shields to protect us from being who we are, because we're afraid of being who we are. And that is the essence of the out of the box challenge, is to show up as who you really are. And that is scary. So I'm going to make a little change in the assignment, although I haven't made it yet in the assignment there. But you do not need to post your videos in the Facebook group. I can understand that might be a little triggering, especially if you're an accomplished, successful speaker. You may not want to show up less than perfect. So what I recommend is that you go ahead and create the video, put it on your YouTube channel, make it, unlisted, so nobody else can see it, and then send me a link, and I will take a look at it. And you're saying, oh no, but then you're going to evaluate me. I've been in Toastmasters for over 3.5 years, and I have learned, in fact, I've even won contests on how to give an evaluation in a way that is goal-stretching and supportive. So trust me, maybe I need to get into my little pleasing mode here. I will support you. I will embrace you. I will hold you in your space. And you know what else I'm going to do today? Today, I'm also going to post one of my early Facebook Live videos, one from last year. And then you can see how far I've come. And you can feel more emboldened to share your own videos. So let's go back to resistance again. Resistance is something that shows up whenever we want to up level. By the way, feel free to post any questions that you have right now, or to give me a like or send me a heart or something, so that we can attract more people, so you're not there all alone. Although I don't mind, I'm just thrilled that you're here today and want to hold you in that space and celebrate the fact that you've showed up today to listen to me and hear what I have to say. And I have some good stuff. So back to resistance. Resistance. So one of the ways in which resistance shows up is by making excuses about why you don't do the challenge, why you don't do the assignments in the challenge. You don't have time, or maybe you're not really interested after all. If you are a speaker, if you are trying to get your clients through speaking, you have got to be interested in this, because all of us, all the powerful coaches out there, top-notch coaches, are struggling with this particular shift. It's as huge as the shift in the movie industry from silent films to talkies. Think about it. In silent films, everybody over-dramatized what they were doing because they had to telescope their feelings and what was going on in large gestures. But they didn't have to have a voice. Now we have to have a voice. We don't do the large gestures because the audience is one by one by one. there's not a large group. Now, of course, if you're in Toastmasters, you may be having a little bit larger a group of people that you're speaking to, but it's different because, well, it's not the same thing as Facebook Live. For one thing, you practice your speech, it's small. Bye for now. Come back. In addition, it requires you to be present. At least in the Toastmasters Zoom calls, you can see the other people. You can look around, although usually I'm too busy looking at the camera lens, but you can sort of feel them. You have been interacting with them. You know that they're there. But here, first you have to interact with people who might not be there in this particular moment in time. They may be coming later. So how do you feel those people? You have to develop your intuitive abilities, your psychic abilities to say, okay, can I feel you? Can I feel you right now? And that's the purpose of out-of-the-box practices, is that it puts you in the moment. Now, every time I say to myself, get in the moment, the world gets sparkly. I studied with a spiritual master for over 35 years and learned the practice of being in the moment. And just the words being in the moment puts me in that altered state. I want to be in that altered state, but I also want to feel you. So maybe you are struggling with feeling like you can't share your videos because they're imperfect. You're not ready yet. Here's what I've learned. You don't get better unless you practice, unless you put it out there, unless you look at what you do. By the way, I look at all my videos to see what it is that I'm doing, see what I like, see what works for me. And you know, that evolves. It's all about evolution. You may be tried. Maybe you made a video. Maybe you actually got that far. That would be fantastic. But now you don't want to share it because you're embarrassed, because it didn't turn out well. Maybe you did it several times and you're like, oh, I just can't get this. And when that happens, resistance happens or shows up on a different level. It's that feeling of imperfection, of you can't reveal that you didn't get it right. Hi, thank you for coming, for joining. Hi, Irene, thank you. We're talking about being out of the box and about using actions of being out of the box in order to change the way in which you show up on Facebook Live. Change the way you show up on this new digital media. How that has changed the way in which you have to speak to your people. What I found is that you have to speak more intimately. You have to be more vulnerable. You have to be more of who you are. So resistance, back to the resistance. So maybe you've tried it and you don't like the results, so you feel too imperfect, so you can't share it. Or maybe somebody said something to you. Maybe you actually did a Facebook Live in your group and somebody said something. Or maybe you experienced just what I experienced. There was somebody on there watching me and then they're gone. How does that affect you viscerally? How does that affect your body when you see somebody, you say, oh, what did I say wrong? You may not have said anything wrong, but that's where the mind goes if you are a pleaser. If you are, like most human beings, you are caught up in getting those likes and that attention from the world out there. Totally understand. By the way, part of my makeover program that I work with my clients in involves developing that sense of who you are, that self-esteem, that self-empowerment that makes you less sensitive to the responses of others. That's what I teach. I also teach how to deal with the emotions when they show up. So I'm going to share because I have no problem sharing these intimate stories about myself. So Monday, I've mentioned Toastmasters. I went to a Toastmasters meeting, and I was really super busy during the first part of the meeting because I was the Zoom host. I was watching the chats. I was making sure the speakers got on and off. I was answering questions. And so by the time we got to our breakout groups where we were doing our speeches, I was tired. But then, no, that wasn't enough. I had to set up lights. I had to set up a different microphone, so that I would appear the best. That's that perfection. And then I discovered that I'm the first speaker, and I haven't even had a chance to review my notes. I don't know about you, but in 7-minute speeches, you really need to know what you're going to say, because you only have 7 minutes, and if you blow it. So I started speaking because what else was I going to do? It was time to go. I guess I could have said, could I go second? I didn't. I just jumped in and I started speaking. And then I saw that green sign that said, I've got 2 minutes left. Oh my goodness. Now I'm starting to throw out in my mind, oh, I don't need to say that. I don't need to say that. And I started getting a little shaky because that fear came in. Fear of, what the hell am I saying next? Fear, what I'm going to do it wrong. I'm going to stumble over my words. And of course, the more I thought about that, the more I stumbled. And I got through it. I thought I did pretty well. And then, as a Toastmaster, you get feedback, immediate feedback. Well, after the second speaker spoke, and she was great. Okay, so now I'm starting to compare myself. Then we get the evaluation. Now, Toastmasters really trains people to give evaluations in a way that is supportive and encouraging, so that you get stretch goals. You don't get told what you did wrong. You learn how to improve, how you can challenge yourself, but you are never told that you have done anything wrong. You get a congratulations for just showing up, which is what I would do for you if you go ahead and send me a link to your video. Hi, thank you for joining. Anyway, I got this evaluation, and this guy didn't know the right way to do an evaluation. And, you know, after you speak, you're really vulnerable, because here you are being totally present, and you speak your heart, and then somebody gives you an evaluation. So, of course, I went into the dragon pit for a while. I know how to get out. That's one of the things that I teach my clients, is how to climb out of the dragon pit when you feel bad. But I did feel bad after that, because I wasn't perfect. What I realized, however, is that this is the kind of speaking I need to learn to do all the time, is to be able to speak in the moment, to be able to be there present and do whatever shows up, because it's in that moment when I haven't prepared so much that the magic happens. If I can just learn or remember to breathe, if I can just remember to stay in the present. Okay, so those are some of the resistances. Let's see if there's anything else. Nope, that's it. So the other thing that, of course, I teach my clients is how to release the feelings, because they'll come up. If you're used to being perfect, and you're used to being very clean and very powerful, and you show up on your Facebook Live and something happens, the phone rings, you get interrupted, you forget what you're saying, because you don't want to be looking down at your script all the time, right? So then that imperfection brings up those emotions, and you don't want to share that. But that's what you actually have to do in Facebook Live. You need to learn. Oh, and Instagram. By the way, I just discovered Instagram, and I'm not quite sure how it works. I don't even know how to look at my videos yet. If you know, please post it in the comment section. But never fear, I'm sure that Google has an answer. So those are the kinds of resistances that prevent you from stepping out of the box. In this particular case, of speaking differently, speaking for your digital audience, who are real flesh and blood on the other side. Hi, I feel you. I think you are an amazing person, and I would like to support you. I would like to encourage you and help you to show up at your next level. And I want to remind you again that this pandemic is an opportunity for you to change. Now, it's very possible that in another 8 months, we're going to be back speaking face to face again. But I believe that if you learn to master this, you will speak even better face to face, because you will know how to speak from your heart. You'll know how to speak from who you really are, which is ultimately what I provide for my clients in the Life Makeover program that they are working in, is how can you accept yourself, be yourself, let go of the layers, the shells, the masks that prevent you from totally showing up. And part of the process of up-leveling, because I believe that we're going to be doing this for the rest of our lives, part of the process of up-leveling is that resistance will show up. When I first started this out-of-the-box challenge, I got a little crazy, and everything I was doing, I was trying to do out of the box. Go out for a walk. Oh, I would go this direction. Oh, I would go cross the lawn. Oh, I would do something different. And I'm taking it a little easier now, because it's not about overdoing it. It's not about doing it with everything. It's about doing it just so that you get the change, just so that you get the stimulation. And what I found from my drawing challenge is, oh my goodness, it totally stimulates creativity. It is making changes in my life that are unbelievable. That's why I'm so excited about this. I really want you to get this, that making these little tweaks can have a huge, huge impact, huge influence on how you show up for your clients, how you show up for your prospects, how you become more real. So now I'm going to talk about the assignment today. The assignment today is, again, to do your video, same video, who you are, what you do, who your clients are. You don't have to make a pitch. A pitch is a whole, an offer, that's a whole different level. I train you in doing how to do that when we work together. This time, you are going to do it with the archetype of the performer. So I already talked to you about the pleaser. This is somebody who reaches out to the people out there in a way that is enticing, that welcomes people into your arena, that makes them feel safe, that encourages them. A pleaser also will speak in a way that they feel they're less likely to be rejected. We want to change that. We want to take some of the good part of pleaser, but we want to change that. Now, the controller is different. Controller doesn't care what you think out there, but the controller has a little hard time revealing their heart because they've been protecting that heart for so long. Controllers often come from somewhat of an abusive family, and it doesn't have to be physical abuse. It can be emotional abuse, over criticism, not being accepted for who they are, feeling unsafe, maybe father abandonment. Those are the kinds of things that make a child feel like they need to control their environment. So we did that yesterday. So please, if you haven't seen that training, go ahead and check out the day number 2. Hi, thank you for watching. So this time we're going to do the performer. Now the performer, as I mentioned, is the way in which we have typically showed up when we do live in-person presentations. Because you have a whole room full of people, you have to expand your energy so that people will experience you. It's almost like you have to expand your energy because each one of those people out there is taking a piece of you. So you have to get large. You have to get big. Now, how can you play with this in your video? Well, take a look at my training and see how I did that. How did I show up as the performer? See how, now I'm thinking, oh my gosh, did I do this wrong? Did I ever do the pleaser? Maybe I have to go back and do, no, I'm sure I did that. Okay. It may be that today it was the controller that we're talking about and not the pleaser. Oh my gosh, there I am making a mistake. I believe that tomorrow is about the controller, the performer, and today is about the controller. So I've just explained all of them. You got them all. Do the assignment. I actually think the assignment today is for you to be the controller. See how easy it is to lose track of things when you're on Facebook Live. Now, can you settle in and say, okay, it's okay to be imperfect. See, Michelle's imperfect. I can be imperfect. And now, where do I go? Well, to be the controller, and I'm going to change the message in the Facebook so that you get it right. To be the controller, you are coming from a place of authority. Can you come from a place of authority? Well, of course you can. You're used to doing that. Come from a place of strength and power. Come from a place of drama, interest, dynamics. Use your hands, use your body. How can you excite and attract attention? Now, it's interesting. Yesterday, I was doing the pleaser. And yesterday, the pleaser, I said, you know, when you're a pleaser, you get really friendly, maybe a higher voice. Hi, how are you doing? And instantly somebody popped on to watch. I said, wow, that's really interesting. Maybe there is a way in which being pleasing, being friendly, over-friendly, yes, hi, nice, is attractive. But how about the performer? Not the performer, the controller. How about the controller? How does the controller attract people? Through their power, through their strength of being, through their certainty that they're right. My husband is a little bit of a controller. He's also out of the box all the time. In fact, when I go to walk with him, we're always doing something different. It's a little like walking with a dog. He's always stopping to notice things. And then that teaches me to stop and notice things instead of, being in that goal-oriented, let's get there and let's get back. But what I've noticed about him is that although he's very out of the box in some ways, he's not out of the box on the heart level. My husband, of course, does not do Facebook Lives. He does not speak. He does not put himself up there. So if you are a controller and you are speaking, you have already made huge advances in your own growth and development, that you can put yourself out there. But now you are actually dealing with a big challenge, because how can you maintain that power but also open your heart to your people? How can you relate to them? How can you connect with their struggles and still maintain your authority and your power? Interesting exercise, interesting problem to solve. Out of the box is the solution. What can you do out of the box that will help you to open up your heart, to help you to feel your audience, to feel love and appreciation for everything that they do, to feel safe in your own self, that it's okay for you to show up fully, to show up as you truly are, to make mistakes. I remember one of the presenters that I used to go to. She had a big event, and she had this this little gig, or this little thing where if she made a mistake, everybody in the audience would say, "Oh, you are so beautiful." Because as a speaker, sometimes you do make mistakes. Sometimes you do forget what it is that you're talking about. Sometimes, and it's okay, because you're so beautiful. Because it's not about perfection. In this life, it's actually about making mistakes. So I was telling you earlier about how I did that Toastmasters speech, and I got hit by the response of the evaluator. I learned more from that experience than if I had gotten it perfect. What I learned is, one, I do not need to take that evaluator to heart. In fact, he got reamed out by the general evaluator. Not really, but he got told that he needed to learn a different way of giving feedback. But more importantly, I realized that speaking without having that speech well prepared, speaking in the moment, learning to trust my intuition, learning to trust that I will figure it out, and not going into that fear place. Please go ahead and post in the comments section what kind of things you are doing to get out of the box. So this morning, I did a live video on Instagram for the first time. I think I already mentioned this. I have no idea where those videos reside. I have no idea what the impact of it is. But I tried that. And then this afternoon, I went ahead and I did another Instagram video in which I invited people to come to my Facebook Live. So if there's anybody out there that's from Instagram, hi, thank you for joining. That was my out of the box. But I promise you, here's my commitment. I'm going to do a drawing tonight. More than one drawing, to keep those creative juices flowing. And I really I cannot emphasize this enough, that my creativity has really gotten a boost since starting to do that practice. Now, you don't have to draw. Although this particular exercise, you don't have to have any drawing skills. You can go right back to how you drew when you were 5 years old or 10 years old. You don't have to get your drawing right. There's something about being in the moment and allowing whatever is going to happen. In Toastmasters, we do what's called impromptu speaking. And you don't even know what you're going to talk about until they give you the subject. And then whatever happens, whatever shows up, you show up. This is a huge, important practice because it teaches you to be present, to trust yourself, and to allow your creative juices to flow. And that's what we really all want to do. And you especially want to be able to learn how to do that on Facebook Live, to be able to speak in the moment, to trust that something's going to pop up. So I'm slowing down because I'm waiting for something else to pop up. What else can I tell you? Well, I want to tell you that at the end of this week, Friday, which is only 2 days from now, I'm going to have a webinar at this time at 1:30 p.m. Pacific Daylight Saving Time. Yes, we're still in Daylight Saving Time. It goes all the way, I think, until November. I'm going to have a webinar in which I'm going to review all the trainings. So if you haven't been coming to the trainings, you'll get a review. And we're going to celebrate your successes. We're going to celebrate some of the things that you've done getting out of the box. And then finally, we're going to talk about what your next steps are. Because there are steps to this. See, I see it in this larger picture. You're doing what you do. This is my framework. You do what you do because this is what you're called to do. I don't believe that you are a coach or healer without that kind of calling, because it's way too hard. It's much easier to go sell widgets or work in an office than it is to do this. This is one of the hardest things. As Jerry Seinfeld said, the biggest fear people have is public speaking. It comes even before death. So you would rather be in the coffin than giving the eulogy. Therefore, this is your purpose. This is your learning curve. And part of this process is becoming yourself. And as you become more yourself, you are able to step up more powerfully and serve your clients better. You can serve them from your higher self, from your ultimate resources. And that's where you are able to make the change. That's what my life makeover program, which is called Second Chances, From Loss to Success in Wealth, Health, and Love. Yes, indeed, all of those things are tied together. In particular, the wealth and the health, they're all tied together. What can I tell you? You ask me any of those questions. How is it tied to wealth? Well, I've been talking about that. If you don't learn how to speak in this new way, from this place of intimacy, from this place of who you really are, you're not going to get your clients. In which case, you're not going to make your money. Affects your wealth, right? Okay. Number 2, health. When you're not being yourself, you are actually exerting a certain amount of muscular energy. You're tamping down certain emotions. You're pretending, you're playing with a mask. And this takes effort. This takes resources from your body. You may even find yourself doing certain kinds of self-soothing activities that are not the best for you, like drinking wine or eating chocolate or eating too much food or binge watching videos, because you're holding back on who you are. As I mentioned at my Toastmasters meeting, 1 out of 6 people, 1 out of 6 Americans are on some kind of psychiatric drug, primarily tranquilizers and antidepressants. Why? Well, I believe, A, they are not living their purpose, they're not living true to themselves, and B, they don't know who they are. They are so habituated to protecting themselves that they've lost who they are. Now that's what you're here for, right? You're a healer, you're a coach, you're trying to change people. You're trying to change people either by providing them with a way to do their business better or how to show up more as who they are. So you have to do it first. You have to make this next up level. You have to change things. I believe I have finished for today. Come back tomorrow when I will be talking about the performer archetype and how to add that in. You'll see the training. And I will also talk about insights and discoveries. Because when you do this out of the box challenge, when you start taking out of the box actions, you wake up a whole bunch of awarenesses. You wake up a whole way of being that you haven't been for a long time. As my Sufi master, my spiritual teacher used to say, time to wake up. Most of us are sleepwalking. We are living habitual patterns. To wake up is to become alive. To wake up is to be in the moment. To wake up is to be real. To wake up is to live from moment to moment to moment. To wake up is to connect with Source. And that is where the true magic comes from. Have a great day. Be brilliant. See you tomorrow. Oh, and I'm going to post a link for the webinar. Be sure to sign up. There is a registration form. It's real simple. You just need to give me your name and your email. I'm not going to sell it to anybody. It's just there so that I can remind you to come back on Friday so that you get a reminder. And also to make sure that only people who are signed up show up. It's going to be fun. It's going to be very different from these Facebook Lives because we're going to be face to face. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to meeting you. Have a brilliant day. Bye for now.